Why does it seem like every great founder has ADHD? Bill Gates, Richard Branson, Barbara from Shark Tank, Andrew Wilkinson, so many billionaires have ADHD. Also, ADHD is highly stigmatized, so these are only the ones that are public with it. So what if I told you that what we've been told is a disorder, a weakness, might actually be the exact opposite? I've struggled with ADHD my entire life. I was even expelled from preschool. Ritalin was still new. My mom didn't want to medicate me, so I went untreated. That meant school was a war zone. I ended up dropping out of high school when I was 16. I never even passed 10th grade. After I dropped out, I ended up making sandwiches at Subway for minimum wage while all my friends graduated high school, went off to college. It crushed me. But later, ADHD became my edge. I found nootropics, I built a routine, I figured out what my brain needed, and everything changed. I went from a high school dropout to a Yale grad with 2 master's degrees. Today, I run Thesis, a brain supplement company valued at over $100 million. In this video, I'll show you why ADHD is so common in founders and how it can actually fuel your success. Here's what we'll cover: my story with ADHD before and after diagnosis, how it helped and nearly sabotaged the creation of Thesis, what the science actually says about ADHD and entrepreneurship, and 3 tactics that you can use to go from distracted to dialed in. Let me take you back to when I was a kid. Focus was never an option. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't do it. I would just sit there and stare at the wall. By 6, I was seeing a psychiatrist. My diagnosis was ADHD, but I didn't get any treatment. I continued to struggle in school, constantly in the principal's office, getting suspended. Eventually, I dropped out. I thought that was it. But then I found cooking. The kitchen saved me. I finally found something where ADHD was helpful. I could juggle 50 things at once. I was super passionate about cooking and I was good at it. But eventually, even that wasn't enough. When I burned out in the kitchens, I set my sights on business school. At the time, I had no high school diploma, no college degree, never took the SAT, just pure grit. I picked up a GMAT study guide and immediately I hit a wall. It felt like I was back in 10th grade. ADHD kicked my ass again, but this time I wasn't gonna give up. I needed something different, and that's when I discovered nootropics. I started mixing my own stacks. I bought a digital scale, started buying sketchy powders off the internet, and would go into coffee shops. Everyone would look at me like I was crazy. Finally, I could focus. I crushed the GMAT. I got a 99th percentile. It got me into INSEAD, where I did my MBA, and then Yale, where I did another master's degree. For the first time in my life, school made sense. ADHD wasn't holding me back. It was powering me forward. Eventually, those self-made stacks turned into Thesis. I didn't write a 20-page business plan. I just started building in my apartment. We made almost no money for years, but ADHD helped me do what most people can't. Where others would have gotten overwhelmed, I got obsessed. Eventually, we broke through, raised capital, and built a team. Now Thesis has helped hundreds of thousands of people find their formula and finally focus. And I think about that 16-year-old kid failing out of high school, told he'd never be more than just a dropout. But is there a scientific correlation between ADHD and entrepreneurship? One peer-reviewed study from 2018, which I'll link below, tracked nearly 10,000 university students in the Netherlands. Those with ADHD were almost twice as likely to start a business or have entrepreneurial intentions. Why? Because hyperactive ADHD symptoms tend to drive action. Students with ADHD also measured high in impulsivity and mental restlessness. Entrepreneurship scratches that itch for stimulation and risk-taking. It's also crazy to start a business. If I knew how difficult it would have been, I never would have done it, but I was impulsive and just gave it a shot. Does that mean that everyone with ADHD is gonna launch a company? Not exactly. The link between ADHD and entrepreneurship is strongest in people with hyperactive traits. But ADHD isn't one size fits all. It often shows up with things like anxiety, which can actually hold people back from starting anything. But let's dive into a recognizable case study. David Neeleman, the founder of JetBlue, once said, "If somebody told me you could be normal or you could continue to have your ADHD, I would take ADHD. He even attributed his position in life to his unique brain chemistry. So what can you do if you have ADHD and want to put something in motion? Here are the 3 things that help me scale from early stage chaos into a $100 million company. First, recognizing that ADHD comes with both strengths and weaknesses. I know that I'm never going to be organized, so when I looked for a co-founder, I wanted somebody that could balance me out. It's about figuring out systems that allow me to get the advantages of ADHD without having the disadvantages. Second, figure out how to focus. I've developed so many systems over the years. For me, it's important that I hit the gym before work. I also have a system for doing my emails and not constantly checking them all day. These systems, starting slowly with one at a time, have really allowed me to get into deep productive focus throughout the day. Nootropics is a core part to all my systems because they make everything easier. They allow me to develop and nurture these healthy habits and get rid of bad habits along the way. 3, control your dopamine. I crave stimulation, and in today's world, distraction is just one click away. Alex Hormozi said it best. It's never been easier to be successful, but it's also never been easier to be distracted. I treat my mind like I treat my body. If I eat junk, I gain weight. If I feed my brain junk, TikTok, Twitter, doom scrolling, I lose my productivity. So I curate what I consume. Books, podcasts, deep learning, because your input becomes your output.